welcome to Friday Reads, where we help you find your next read. I'm Jill.
And I'm Julie, and as you can see, we are out on location again today. We are at one of the family-owned flower shops in Kimberly. We're at Robinson Floral. They have a beautiful display out here of all their things for your home for the holidays, and we're going to go inside in the greenhouse and film our book picks, but we thought it would be fun to do that since we picked flowers and flower shops, or books that have flower in the title. We thought, what better place than to come to one of the family-owned flower shops in town.
So, see you soon with our book picks. Hello, and here we are inside the greenhouse, and I have my first pick for this week. I have The Darling Dahlias and The Cucumber Tree by Susan Wittig Albert. The country may be struggling through the Great Depression, but the good ladies of Darling, Alabama are determined to keep their chins up and their town beautiful. Their garden club, the Darling Dahlias, has just inherited a new clubhouse and garden, complete with 2 beautiful cucumber trees in full bloom. But life in Darling is not all garden parties and rosemary lemonade. When a local blonde bombshell, Bunny Scott, is found in a suspicious car wreck, the Dahlias decide to dig into the town's buried secrets, and club members Lizzie, Ophelia, and Verna soon find leads sprouting up faster than weeds. The town is all abuzz with news of an escaped convict from the prison farm, rumors of a trouble at the bank, and tales of a ghost herd digging around the cucumber tree. If anyone can get to the root of these mysteries, it's the Darling Dahlias.
Uh-oh.
There are 9 books in this series, all with flowers in the titles, and a mystery for the garden club to solve. So,
And my first pick on our flower theme is The Language of Flowers by Vanessa Diffenbaugh, published in 2011. The Victorian language of flowers was used to convey romantic expressions: honeysuckle for devotion, asters for patience, and red roses for love, probably one we're all familiar with. But for Victoria Jones, it's been more useful in communicating mistrust and solitude. After a childhood spent in the foster care system, she's unable to get close to anybody, and her only connection to the world is through flowers and their meanings. Now 18 and emancipated from the system with nowhere to go, Victoria realizes she has a gift for helping others through the flowers she chooses for them. But an unexpected encounter with a mysterious stranger has her questioning what's been missing in her life. And when she's forced to confront a painful secret from her past, she must decide whether it's worth risking everything for a second chance at happiness. Following the success of this debut novel, this author co-founded the Camellia Network, now Life Set Network, a nonprofit whose mission is to connect every youth aging out of the foster care to critical resources, opportunities, and the support they need to thrive in adulthood. So that's pretty cool.
that's very cool. My next one is The Flower Arrangement by Ella Griffin. Golden peonies bowing their heads beneath blue delphinium bells. Delicate pink anemones threaded between freckled green orchids. Soft apricot roses woven together with velvety purple irises. Every bouquet tells a story, and every story begins at Blossom and Grow, a tiny jewel-like flower shop in the heart of Dublin. Here among buckets of fragrant blooms, beneath the flickering candles and lanterns, Lara works her magic, translating feelings into flower arrangements that change hearts and lives. But what about her own heart? Has she really healed since she lost her chance to be a mother? What will happen when her own story takes a sudden turn? Can flowers that heal the customers work their magic on the florist? Drawing together a delightful cast of characters, Ella Griffin brings her warmth, wit, and wisdom to captivating a tale woven around a Dublin florist. So,
And I went nonfiction for my second pick. This is Martha's Flowers, a practical guide to growing, gathering, and enjoying by Martha Stewart, which was published back in 2018. It's a rare glimpse into Martha Stewart's personal gardens. This book features her very favorite blooms and will include everything you need to know from cultivation to display, with instructions for successfully growing flowers and arranging them, along with practical tips, foolproof techniques, and plenty of inspiration from Martha's own homes, plural. Gardening has long been a favorite pastime of her. Having grown up working in the yard with her father, a master gardener, she relished the moment when she would be able to have her very own garden, and has since owned, loved, and developed 6 additional gardens, one which is a farm. In this book, she brings you into her personal gardens, walking you through rows and rows of tulips, daffodils, peonies, poppies, hydrangeas, dahlias, and much more, while sharing stories of what these flowers mean to her. She also invites Kevin Sharkey, a longtime Martha Stewart living editor and dear friend, to teach how to beautifully arrange these cut flowers yourself. That's what I need to learn. In the back of the book, she includes a helpful, hardworking list of tools and vessels, that are good to have, information on how to plant a cutting garden, and a tutorial on forcing branches. It's one of her most intimate books ever, and the authoritative advice included will make this a must-have for every gardener and flower enthusiast. Just going to flip it over and look at the
Like that cover's
part with
gorgeous.
all the lilacs in bloom cut. It's beautiful.
I can see that being very handy for somebody who wants to be a florist.
Exactly.
as well. My next one is called All the Flowers and Pears by Sarah Jo. Two women connecting across the city of Paris, a mysterious journal and shocking secrets sweeping from World War II to the present. When Caroline wakes up in a Paris hospital with no memory of her past, she's confused to learn she's lived a sad, reclusive life for years in a sprawling apartment on the Seine. Slowly gaining vague memories of a man and a young child, she vows to piece her life together. Though she can't help but she may be in danger. A budding friendship with the chef of a charming nearby restaurant takes her mind off her foggy past, as does a startling mystery from decades prior. In Nazi-occupied Paris, young widow Celine lives a quiet life with her father, the local florist, and her daughter Cosie. When a ruthless German officer discovers the family Jewish ancestry, he blackmails Celine, forcing her to become his mistress in exchange for the other's safety. The trio plans an escape, but their mission goes horribly awry, and Celine's beloved father and daughter are sent away to a cruel fate. Initially distraught, Celine fears the worst, yet she soon discovers that Cosie has snuck away and followed her into captivity. More motivated than ever, Celine must now fight to hide and protect the person she loves the most. Parallel timelines intersect when Caroline discovers Celine's diary tucked away in a closet, and it is revealed that all the walls of her apartment harbor dark secrets. With the help of a local student from the Sorbonne, she realizes she may have more in common with Celine than she ever could imagine. So,
Sounds like an interesting one.
two timelines. I like this.
My third pick is one of our favorites, a cozy mystery. Death in Bloom by Jess Dillon, published in 2021, so it's a fairly new book. It's the first in a sweet and colorful cozy mystery series. It introduces the flower shop owner, Sierra Ravenswood. At the flower shop, every rose has its thorn. Sierra Ravenswood is the new part-time employee of the Flower House, a flower shop in Tennessee. It's true she didn't expect to be back in her hometown at 28, but after her dream of making it as a singer in Nashville crashed and burned, she's just grateful to have found a soft place to land. Because after all, Sierra firmly believes in being optimistic and positive about life, so she's sure she won't have to work at the Flower House forever. But then take a decidedly negative turn when a customer drops dead in the middle of her new bouquet arranging workshop at the store. When it's discovered he was poisoned by a snack at the event, everyone at the workshop, including Sierra, is on the suspect list. Sounds like a familiar pattern to the cozy mysteries. To make matters worse, her boss has gone AWOL and left the store to her for the cost of $1, leaving Sierra in charge of both his store and his high-energy corgi pup, Gus.
Aww.
The town is on edge, and Sierra knows that murder is something that an upbeat attitude and a bouquet of sweet-smelling roses just can't fix. She's determined to figure out who done it before anyone else in town meets an untimely reason and needs funeral flowers. So, check out The Death in Bloom, a Flower House mystery.
I hope you could hear all that above that airplane that flew overhead. What the heck?
All the joys of being on a remote location.
A little more noisy than the library here. So my next one is Killers of the Flower Mood by David Gran. This is nonfiction. In the 1920s, the richest people per capita in the world were members of the Osage Indian Nation in Oklahoma. After oil was discovered beneath their land, the Osage rode in chauffeured automobiles, built mansions, and sent their children to study in Europe. Then one by one, they began to be killed off. One Osage woman, Molly Burkhart, watched as her family was murdered. Her older sister was shot. Her mother was then slowly poisoned. And it was just the beginning, as more Osage began to die under mysterious circumstances. In this last remnant of the Wild West, where oilmen like J.P. Getty made their fortunes and where desperados such as Al Spencer, the Phantom Terror, roamed, virtually anyone who dared to investigate the killings were themselves murdered. As the death toll surpassed more than 24 Osage, the newly created FBI took up the case in what became the organization's first major homicide investigation. But the Bureau was then notoriously corrupt and initially bungled the case. Eventually, the young director, J. Edgar Hoover, turned to former Texas Ranger Tom White to try to unravel the mystery. White put together an undercover team, including one of the only Native American agents in the Bureau. They infiltrated the region, struggling to adopt the latest modern techniques of detection. Together with the Osage, they began to expose one of the most sinister conspiracies in American history. This is a true-life murder mystery about one of the most monstrous crimes in history, so not really flower shop, but it does have flower in the title, so and it's very popular.
I was going to say that's a popular book. My next one, my fourth pick, is A Memory of Violets, a novel of London's flower sellers by Hazel Gaynor, published in 2015. In 1912, 20-year-old Tilly Harper leaves the peace and beauty of her native Lake District for London to become an assistant house mother at Mr. Shaw's home for watercress and flower girls. For years, the home has cared for London's flower girls, orphaned and crippled children living on the grimy streets and selling posies of violets and watercress to survive. Soon after she arrives, Tilly discovers a diary written by an orphan named Florrie, a young Irish flower girl who died of a broken heart after she and her sister Rosie were separated. Moved by Florrie's pain and all she endured in her brief life, Tilly sets out to discover what happened to Rosie. But the search will not be easy. It's full of twists and surprises, and it leads the caring and determined young woman into unexpected places, including the depths of her own heart. It sounds good. I like all that historical fiction, but it also sounds sad.
You need a little cry. Sometimes it's okay. So my last pick is a Debbie Macomber book. It was very, very popular. I'm sure you know who she is. This is Rose Harbor in Bloom. It is the second in the series of the Rose Harbor Inn, about them restoring an inn, but this one involves a garden, so that's why I chose it. Since moving to Cedar Cove, Jo Marie Rose has truly started to feel at home, and her neighbors have become her closest friends. Now it's springtime, and Jo Marie is eager to finish the most recent addition to her inn. In memory of her late husband, Paul, she has designed a beautiful rose garden for the property and enlisted handyman Mark Taylor to help realize it. She and Mark don't always see eye to eye, and at times he seems far removed, yet deep down, Jo Marie finds great comfort in his company. And while she still seeks a sense of closure, she welcomes her latest guests, who are on their own healing journeys. Anne Newton arrives in town to orchestrate her parents' 50th wedding anniversary celebration. While Annie's excited for the festivities, she's struggling to move on from her broken engagement, and her grandparents themselves seem to be having trouble getting along. Worse, Annie is forced to see Oliver Sutton, with whom she grew up and who has always mercilessly teased her. But the best parties end with a surprise, and Annie is in for the biggest one of all. High-powered businesswoman Mary Smith, another Rose Harbor Inn guest, has achieved incredible success in her field, yet serious illness has led her to face her soul-lingering regret. Almost 19 years ago, she ended her relationship with her true love, George Hudson, and now she's returned to Cedar Grove to make amends. Compassion and joy await Marie, Annie, and Mary as they make peace with their past and look boldly toward their futures. So,
She's a popular author.
very.
My last pick is A Life Without Flowers, a novel by Marcy Bolden, published last year in 2020. 24 years after losing her daughter in a tragic accident, Carol Denman has finally made peace with Katie's father. But releasing her ex-husband from blame and facing how deeply she held herself responsible were only the first steps in Carol's journey towards peace. With the pain of her failed first marriage behind her, Carol is determined to mend her broken relationship with her mother. But she soon discovers she isn't the only one who has been hanging on to bitterness. A road trip to face the past leads Carol's mother, Judith, to unearth the seeds of past mistakes and deep resentments in ways neither of them would expect. The roots of family animosity run deep and thick in this book. While Judith seems hesitant to start digging, Carol commits to pruning away the thorns of the past so she no longer has to live a life without flowers. Lots of flower references in this write-up. This is actually number 2 in a series. This is in the A Life Without series, and I wasn't familiar with this, but this one is A Life Without Flowers.
Awesome. Well, I hope if you are interested in flowers or florists or murders in Texas, I hope you found something new to read here and other suggestions.
Thanks for watching us. It's fun to be out on remote. The greenhouse is beautiful with all the holiday
Yeah, there's
poinsettias
so many
behind
poinsettias
us.
here.
So it was fun to come over to Robinson's. Thanks to them for letting us film today in the greenhouse. Thanks for watching. Share, like, comment. If you've got a favorite book about flowers, nonfiction or fiction, let us know. Bye.